Help, help, and more help. What's up, 23% Nation? It's Coach D. And guys, yes, today we're all about helping choking victims. Now, as you can see, this is part 3 in our video series about how to help a choking victim. Now, here's the thing. In the 2 previous videos, I went for the shock factor, meaning the title was a little severe. Man chokes to death, okay? But guys, I'm gonna flip the script on this particular video because I really want to emphasize on how important it is to help people. So whether someone is choking, whether someone is in need of anything, let's focus on helping individuals. So without any further delay, let's go ahead and dive right on in. So, how to help a choking victim, part 3. Now, for those of you who have been following Coach D in this great video series, ladies and gentlemen, we know that in part 1, we told the unfortunate story of an individual who died during the 23% challenge. Why? Because he was eating a slice of pizza, apparently either a piece of bread or maybe it was one of the toppings on the pizza became lodged in his throat, therefore causing him to choke to death. Now, in part 2, we got a little more specific. We talked about the definition of the word choking, and then we also got into a little bit of anatomy and physiology, basically deciphering the difference between the trachea, which is also called the windpipe, and the esophagus, which we coined the food pipe. Okay, so guys, now that we are now officially in the 3rd series, or shall I say the 3rd part of the video series, we're really going to focus on assessing the situation. So we need to find out if a person is really choking or not. So without any further delay, let's go ahead and dive right on in. Okay, so step 1, we need to assess the situation. In other words, we need to find out if the person is actually choking. So for step 1, to assess the situation, guys, we got to make sure the person is actually choking. So in doing so, we need to figure out if there is a partial airflow obstruction or if there is a total airway obstruction. Now, in order to figure out if it's partial or total, we definitely need to continue watching on. Okay, so let's first talk about a partial airway obstruction. Guys, let's be clear about something, okay? All living beings need air, but specifically we all need oxygen in order to live. So if there is an obstruction to air entering in your body or air exiting your body, then you, unfortunately, are going to run into some major problems. Okay? So let's first talk about a partial airway obstruction. If a person has a partial airway obstruction, they will be able to speak. They will be able to cry out, say, hey, help me out. They'll be able to cough, and they will also be able to respond to your question, hey, are you choking? Okay? And what that means is that there is a partial, meaning that air can flow into and out of the body, which enables them to be able to speak. So if a person can speak, then technically they're not choking. So if they appear to be choking, allow the person to cough. So the coughing is actually the body's mechanism. It's actually a defense mechanism that allows anything, whether it's food, a toy, or maybe even a small coin, to be unlodged from the person's throat. So once again, if it's a partial airway obstruction, that means that air can flow into and out of the body, which means the person will be able to speak, they can cough, and they'll be able to respond to your questions. So go ahead, let the person cough because that's the body's natural way of dislodging anything that may be stuck in the trachea. Okay, now let's move forward to a total airway obstruction. Once again, let's talk about the flow of air. In order for you to live, air must be able to flow into the body as well as out of the body. That being said, if a person has a total airway obstruction, they will not be able to breathe. Now, because they can't breathe, they won't be able to speak, they won't be able to cough, nor will they be able to respond to any of the questions that you may have. Now, something else that may give way to them having a total airway obstruction is that they will use the universal choking sign, which basically looks like the man in the picture. Now, if I may demonstrate, here we go. I'm choking, help me, save me. Okay, but again, because there is a total airway obstruction, the person will not be able to speak. So always look for that gesture. Now, understand something, 23% Nation. We're coming from the perspective that we are helping someone who is choking. But if you are the one who's choking and you have a total airway obstruction, you won't be able to breathe, you won't be able to speak, and you won't be able to cough. So if this is you, then all you have to do is go like this, and that is the universal sign for, hey, I'm choking. Come over here and save me. Okay? Now, outside of the universal sign for choking, guys, there is something else that you can look for on the individual. Just take a look at their lips, take a look at their fingertips. They may start turning blue. If you see the color blue, what that signifies is that the person's body is suffering from a lack of oxygen. That's right, guys, a lack of oxygen. So as the body is deprived of oxygen, their lips and their fingertips will begin to turn blue. That in and of itself should let you know immediately that this person is not only choking, but they have a total airway obstruction. Ladies and gentlemen, that's it for this particular video. I know it's short, I know it's sweet, but I'm gonna give you an entire video series. So there is definitely more to come. So Coach D wants to thank you for watching. I definitely want to thank you for listening. Please subscribe and please like the video. And as always, I want you to write a comment. So in order for you to write a comment, I have a question of the day. Now, some of you may be wondering, all right, Coach D, what's the question of the day? Well, don't fret because here it comes. Question of the day, I told you it was coming. So check it out, guys. Here's the question. What is the difference between a partial and total airway obstruction? That's it. So go ahead, address the question in the comments section, and I hope you get it right. So here is the question once again. What is the difference between a partial and total airway obstruction? Ladies and gentlemen, this is Coach D of the 23% Challenge, and I'm out. But before I leave you for today, I always want to say be blessed, and always remember, never forget that Coach D loves you. Take care and goodbye.